Okay. Hi, everybody. All right. Wait, did this work? I hope this is working. Is this working? All right, whatever the fuck. All right, so I am going to read a few more things from my 2022 deal. I guess it's like the end of the year, and I'm just like, you know, trying to end the year on a happy note. Plus, it's the golden hour, and I can actually use all like natural lighting sunlight. So I might as well use it since I got it. Um, it's not tricking if you have it. I don't know why I decided quoting T.I. was the appropriate thing right now. Okay, so first and foremost, hi, we're almost done with this year. Um, and I'm gonna answer one question, and then that'll be the last, and we'll be done. That'll be excellent. I hope everyone's day is going well. All right, so the reading first. This one is called Full Moon in April because those are the first words of the piece. And this seems to be the thing that I don't have not really good at titles, it turns out. I'm going to work on the titles. I'm going to work on them. All right. Tonight is a full moon in April, Good Friday. My mother flew into Minnesota this morning and there were snow flurries landing on my hair as I stood outside the car. A couple of days ago, I went to hear friends read poems and essays, and as I was walking outside, staring at the snow that was blowing sideways down the sidewalk, the poet standing behind me said, "April is the cruelest month." The air was bluster and gray-white, a Prince song, a sharp rebuke to the early days of sun and hope. 2 years of COVID and political upheavals and sideways turns and writing poems and 4 a.m. arguments and coffee dates and snow piled high against the highway and vitamin D supplements and black dresses and social media news alerts and Amazon packages and long walks and resting bicycles and long baths and driftless conversations. And at this point, I am angry. Today, my mother sat in my living room and she talked about how the men she had dated would try to tell her to be less expressive, that she spoke with too much dynamism in her voice, although I doubt they used the word dynamism, and talk with her hands punctuating her sentences. And I sighed, thinking how many times I've been told the same thing, how many times I've had to say, I'm not angry, I'm just passionate. I'm not angry, I just speak with conviction. And when I try to talk while being monotone or keeping my hands still, I lose my train of thought. I can't think. I can't find the words anymore. I like that I speak with my whole body, that I write with my whole being. Even here on the keyboard, I like the way the keyboard sounds, tap, 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 the rhythm of it. And then I pause and put my fingers over my lips or rub my forehead or gesture toward the lamp or stare off to the shadowed corners, my hands resting on my cheeks, my breath filling the lungs as I ponder the next sentence, and the one after that, and the one after that. It's Good Friday, but I stopped being Christian years ago. Easter, though, is still a sweet holiday. Jesus is killed, strung up on a cross, between thieves, buried in a tomb, tumbles to hell, and resurrects on the third day. And the first people he gives the good news to are the women who stayed by his body when all the men had run away in fear. That sounds about right to me. Most of the men I know would have run away in fear, would have said it was stupid to stay in such a dangerous position of loyalty, of faith and hope, of mourning, of grace. A friend said that when her church would emphasize how the women had stayed, that the women were the backbone of the church, it was a way to manipulate the women's faith, to put pressure on women. Me, I just think most of the men I know would have hidden away, thrown stones and then hidden their hands, spoken in low monotone voices, scared that someone might associate them with a martyr, a social outcast, a dead body. But look, I know a few folks, queer, women, non-binary, trans, black and brown, who would have kept a candle lit, who would have stayed because they talk with their hands, with passion, with conviction. They get angry at soldiers and traitors. They bring oil and food and laughter. Look, I gave up on Christianity, became an atheist, Sufi Muslim. It is Ramadan, and I pray with my whole body, my whole throat, folding and folding my limbs, my eyes facing the stars. I don't know why the women stayed when the men all ran away. When I was in Congo nearly 2 decades ago on a research project about the effects of the war on Congolese women, I was asked to give a sermon one Sunday, and that was the sermon I gave about how the women were the first ones to receive the good news. They were the first messengers of that deep transformation from flesh to spirit, from hell to Holy Ghost. In the month of Ramadan, the month when the angel appeared to Muhammad and said, recite, I'm still trying to find a way to speak the truth and be understood. Anger isn't any more dangerous than sadness. Sad people seem to hurt me and others just as much as angry ones do. After 2 years, I am angry about how much the powers that be have let us lose, how much we have lost. I am grieving daily. I am going to the tomb, and it is not empty but filled with dead bodies. I am going to the mountain, and there is no angel there yet, just me breathing and praying for a miracle. I am listening to a God I don't believe in. It sounds like the wind pounding against the window pane. Okay. Yeah, I wrote that one obviously in the springtime, while it was Easter and Ramadan. My mom came to visit us, and for my daughter's birthday, which is April 19th. And yeah, I was writing a lot. I think I was just trying to understand how we were 2 years into this, and yet um, still, still, still dealing with it all. I don't know. I think the spring of 2022 was a really kind of emotionally tumultuous time. Like there were a lot of good new things happening, and there were a lot of things that were old and they were falling away, and I just didn't know what my life was going to look like. As always, it turned out as it turned out, but um, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna run for a second, go get tea, come back, and I will be back in 30 seconds. Okay, so also, this is my bedroom and this is my canopy bed. I really love this. I always wanted to film at least one reading in this bedroom because I just think it's such a lovely like framing, and it's basically where when Zoom meetings became the only meetings, um, this is where most of my sitting on my bed, um, working from a laptop was done. So this for me is a very iconic space. Okay, I will be back though. Okay. Okay. Hi everybody. All right, so in these last seconds of actually good light before it all dips away because it gets dark at like 4:30 here or something. Oh God. Minnesota, go further south. No, I wanted to read an older piece that I wrote in 2020, but I like didn't I only published part of it in The Future of Love. So there's a new part that relates to the last piece I just read. But okay, you'll get it. You're gonna see the connections that I'm making here. Like it's like a tapestry we're weaving. Anyways, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. Um, right. It starts off. So for those of you, anyways, whatever. I'm gonna do the thing. Okay. As it gets dark. Right. I think I wrote this in like September of 2020. It finally occurs to me that it doesn't really matter where I am as long as I can write. This has been a long journey for me to get here. For years, I believed the most important aspect of my life was where I was, the place, the local community, the land, the people. This gave my life meaning, the where and the who. After decades, I'm starting to feel like I do the same things in every place. My work is very simple. I go through the day, walking from place to place, and I write about that walk. And through that walking, I am the artist, the artwork, the process of creation, the performance, the memoirs, the observer, the photographer, the painter, the collector of songs and signs and poems and pith. I'm trying to stop being afraid of being ordinary, of having an ordinary life. There is nothing ordinary about this life, anyways, or these times. And I'm struck over and over again by how much I try to do normal things: eat dinner, watch the news, brush my teeth, read a book, in the midst of the apocalypse, the falling of the US empire, a pandemic, a grand jury that refuses to charge Breonna Taylor's murderers for killing her in her sleep. And all I can do is write about it all. What do you do when violence is on your doorstep every morning? You sing the blues. All right, the second part. There is something strange about being a native English speaker. Wherever I go in the world, I speak the lingua franca by birthright. It is a privilege. It is easy access to so many conversations. When I was younger and living outside of the US, I remember that non native English speakers would exclaim how they were bilingual while Americans were not, and that showed how much better educated, how much more intelligent they were than Americans. US Americans, because everyone from America is America. Yes, I know. But look, living in the Middle East, everyone refers to America and Amriki, and frankly, it automatically translates in my head to America. And I'm so sorry for colonization and empire, but y'all, like, it sucks. Anyways, I'm gonna say Americans, Americans. At first, when they would bring up this bilingual superiority, I would nod my head and agree. I mean, how could I not? I did not speak any language nearly as well as I spoke English, or frankly, as well as they spoke English. Then I started to realize that the strange thing about English is how many Englishes I have had to learn in my life, and how many more there were to learn. The other part about English being the global language, the language of business and academia, of tourism and media and glamorous pop culture, that there are so many different Englishes spoken by so many different people. The English, the standard American English with its nasal vowels and quiet jaw and lazy tongue that I kind of grew up with speaking in my home and definitely was taught in school, but then there is the English of my grandmother and my cousins and country South Carolina, the flexible lips, the deep voices of the women, the constant references to what the old folks say and what the Bibles say and what the men on the news say, the sound of honey and grit, not the grits of the food, but grit, the texture of a brick house when you run your hands along the outside wall. Most people around me now in the upper Midwest, small town Minnesota, they wouldn't understand my Southern family in the evenings as the women sink deeper into their voices while eating supper and cleaning up and watching TV and doing hair. There is also the English I speak to non-native English speakers. I speak slowly and enunciate, clipping the consonants, using my hands to shape the meaning. Well, I do this part naturally. Talk with my hands, like the women in my family. I have been watching more and more videos about American Sign Language, and one of the more fascinating aspects to me is that the Black ASL is different than white ASL. Okay, follow me. Black deaf folks are more likely to use two hands to sign, and they are more likely to make their signs bigger, take up a larger field of the body. Facts. Last year, I was in Berlin studying German, 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, German A1. 15 adults from around the world: Saudi Arabia and Syria, Sweden and the Dominican Republic, London and Laos, and me. The class defaulted to speaking English when we needed to explain a new German concept. And of course, most people in that class spoke English conversationally fluent as their second language. But I was one of the strongest German learners in the class. One guy, 25 years old, Swedish, extroverted, the jokester, who spoke English perfectly, would get so frustrated at how long it was going to take for him to learn German. And I realized I had been insecure about my language learning skills around people who were bilingual, but they had learned their languages as a child in school, the way children learn, like sponges and fungi and coral. They, as children, floated in words and sounds long enough until they learned to swim through them. But I had learned my second, third, fourth languages as an adult. I had learned how to think through languages, their structure, their grammar, their tricks and turns, their labyrinths. Learning a new language as an adult is like learning to do calculus in your head spontaneously. And even though I was never fluent in a second language, I was damn good at learning how to move the human body through oceans and seas, one arm, one leg at a time. It wasn't natural to me. I walked on land in English, but I wasn't a bad swimmer. I just had to hold my breath and kick. It wasn't always elegant, but I could get my point across the vast oceans between myself and another person, across history and culture, across childhoods and funerals, across gender and pronunciations. But there were nights when I would go swimming in the Red Sea off the coast of the Sinai, the camels in the background, the drummers sitting around the fires, and the sky would be 1,000,001 stars ablaze over the sea. And I would swim so far out in the sea that I would be surrounded by blackness and salt and quiet. A whole world opening up and closing down simultaneously. Okay. The third part. We have two cats, Tiggy and Popcorn, and we have three chickens, two white ones and one brown, in the backyard, named Heather, Heather, and Veronica. These are the new young chickens. 5 years ago, when I first moved to the small town, I insisted that we get chickens. My daughter's father and grandfather spent a few days building a chicken coop in the backyard and setting up the wire fence so the chicks could run free. They were Bianca and Jack the Skeleton. Bianca was white and Jack was black and orange. Someday I will write more about these chickens and what it means to eat their eggs and feed them the scraps from our meals. How they give me hope in something strange and sweet. They, I assume, do not know about the apocalypse or the fading population of bees, or how most days I cannot write anything because it all seems so restless and pointless to care when I am just one person, and the world that I fought for and hoped for and put my body on the line for, that world, that future, will never be. And I don't know if the world that we are entering is going to be worse, but I damn well know it is not going to be better than the one I imagined I could create from sweat and muscle and work and resilience and trauma. Okay. All right, so those are the two main pieces I was going to read today. So we got through that in under 20 minutes. Absolutely brilliant. And the sun is starting to go down, and we're going to lose light really soon. So, what am I hoping for to do, to accomplish, to create in 2022? I'm sorry, 2023. 2023. Um, I think I just want to get back to the basics, like at least when it comes to my artistic work. Um, I want to return back to doing the simple good things that I do well. And I want to experiment. Like this is an experimentation. This whole like Facebook Live reading thing slash answering questions thing. This is a weird experimentation on my part. But I want to go back to doing like really simple ways of responding to the world because that's really what my writing and my creation is about. And this year, I did like this really big show that like required like a lot of, I mean, just had a lot of moving elements and it was really fun to do. And thank you everyone who showed up and participated and came to visit. And I did the installation, and all of that felt really wonderful. But I really just want to do simpler things. Like, I want to make a quilt, I want to make a zine, I just want to write, I want to walk, um, I want to DJ. Um, yeah, that's it's really about that, just that grace and that love of just doing these simple responses to the world that I live in. Um, I think maybe my work has become kind of complex, and that's good. That's really good. And a lot of, um, yeah, just go back to making really simple, graceful, beautiful things, because that's what the world feels like at its best to me. Let's see if this tea is calmed down enough. I want to get my health better on track. I feel like that sort of got a little bit off track, and I can be more conscientious about that. Um, I'm going to go to Mexico. We're going to travel more this year. We're going to travel more. Um, yeah, that's really about it. I'm going to put another book out, hopefully. So yeah, I mean, it's nothing. There's no really big, be the mother to a 15/16-year-old daughter, do really simple, graceful things in the world. And that's it. Anyways, last but not least, I still have copies left of The Future of Love, the book I put out in 2021. So it's about a year old, but I send them out for free. If anyone would like a copy, you can just DM me or email me, um, and I will, and send me your snail mail address or tell me where to drop it off, and I will do that for you. Um, Super easy, simple things. Um, like, I went on this rant yesterday about radical activism and all that, so I don't really need to, like, don't really have a lot more to say. I'm just ending 2020 to on a note of deep breaths, deep gratitude, you know, deep love. Um, Thankful that we can all live to see another day. One last thing. My grandmother, every night, every single night before she went to bed, she would say, see you in the morning if the Lord's willing. You know, see you in the morning if the Lord's willing. And every morning I would wake up when she would say that, just go, and I'd have to like check and see if she was still alive, because she was constantly predicting her own death. She was constantly talking about her own death. Um, I think that's part of the reason I get sort of I am sort of obsessed by, what she'd say, like, are you gonna remember me when I'm gone? I'm like 6 years old. Like, are you gonna remember me when I'm gone? And so I think that's why I put so much emphasis into making sure that she's remembered, um, now that she's gone. Okay, we're losing light, so I'm gonna say good afternoon, and I'm gonna go live the rest of my day. Live the rest of my day. See you in the morning if the Lord's willing, I guess.